Hey guys,
Martin.
are you
Hey,
ready?
hello.
Hello, everybody.
Are we
Welcome.
re-
Glad to be here.
are we ready to show that there is truly honor among thieves?
We'll give it a try. I don't know if there is, but we'll try.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for coming, everyone who's watching, and what we're about here in Honor Among Thieves is telling stories, rolling some dice, playing some games, talking about projects that we've done and that are coming for our company, Gaming Honors, and really just kind of taking some time to enjoy what we love about gaming. Because we are going to be rolling dice every night, we're going to have each show, we're going to have someone who's kind of the judge, and that's going to be me tonight. So I'm going to enjoy that. I'll be passing out checks and fleeting luck when it seems appropriate. My name is Martin. I teach American literature, and I am the primary writer for Gaming Honors.
My name is Thad Donovan. I run a video production company called Smith Donovan, and I am the lead designer for Gaming Honors.
My name's Lance Hodge. I do some of the artwork. I'm a member of the Gaming Honors team. I try to do as much of the grunt work as possible. I love to run games that these guys write, and I'm just so excited to be involved in this creative endeavor, and very proud of what we've done and excited about what's coming up.
And you're what do they call it? Is it the road crew?
Oh yes, I'm a
With
road reaver. I'm a road reaver
Yeah.
judge for Goodman games. I run a lot of Dungeon Crawl Classics games at the various cons, and Mutant Crawl Classics, and whatever sundry other fun things.
People love your game. So if anybody sees Lance Hodge as one of the judges at an event, definitely check him out. He's a great judge.
Well, thanks,
And
Dad.
And I should say, I see I see people are already logging in on the chat, which is wonderful. Thank you. I am also seeing that I'm going to need to really up the power of these reading glasses. So if I am a little behind on responding to the chat, it's because I don't yet have my multiple eye doctor appointment lenses, which I'd like to have. So that was a great sort of opening introduction. We're going to start right off though with the luck check. And here is to see how tonight our very first show goes. And here's the luck check. You have to roll under the grade in school you were in when you first started playing role-playing games. And you don't have to tell us that. I just want to know your result and whether you made your check. And I'll make this roll too. So Lance, why don't you start? You don't have to say what your number has to be. Just tell us what you rolled and whether you made it.
I need to roll really, really low. Here we go. Ah! No, I missed by 12.
Okay, so what did you roll?
I rolled a 15.
Okay, so that tells us a lot, actually. Even for my sort of slow mathematical brain, I think I can dial that in.
Jesus, he's a toddler wandering around playing D&D.
Okay, I had two older uncles that were only 5 and 6 years older than me, and they came down. They came up from Kentucky with a 1978 version of Dungeons and Dragons in hand when they came to visit for Christmas one year when I was 9, I guess.
Okay. Here we go. Rolling under. I am just under. I feel good about tonight. I feel lucky.
All right. So what did you roll?
Okay, so I rolled a 9.
All right. Okay, very good. So yeah, take a luck point. I don't know how that's going to work for you, but it might. You never know.
Okay, I will use
the
lucky snake here as my luck point.
Very cool. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I completely missed it. I rolled a 14, and really, yeah. Actually, no, I should say, no, I totally made that. Yeah, no, I missed that. I've been playing quite a long time, as we're going to find out. It was fascinating, of course. I'm sure everyone was riveted to hear what we do for a living, but that's not really the most interesting thing that we could introduce about ourselves. Why don't you say a little bit about the characters you are running right now in your games, or what you are doing in gaming right now?
Okay, I'll start us off here.
Yeah.
So Martin is running Chained Coffin, DCC. It's been a lot of fun. It's in the Shudder Mountains, and we are Shud folk. It's got a real country kind of vibe to it. And I'm playing a mother and daughter tandem there, Birdie and Summer. And Birdie's an evangelist cleric, right? And she's all about as they travel through the mountains, every village we come across, by gosh, she's got to convert some people and spread the good word of the great sovereign, right? And she, of course, she keeps her eye on all the party members and makes sure everybody's up and running. And I love doing that. She's built on making everybody else better, right? And being sort of the buff support for that purpose. Her daughter is not quite so friendly. She's a mute. She never says a word, and all she does is craft really creepy dolls that she leaves with people that we meet. Nobody really knows what's up with that yet, but trust me, you'll know one day. So those are my two that I've got running now.
And you have also, I mean, you've taken a little bit of a hiatus when I stepped in, but you've also been GMing for quite a while for a campaign for us.
Yeah, during COVID, we had just an absolutely epic, still in play, but we're taking a little break from it. We did 65 sessions over a little over a year, and just a massive epic campaign. And you guys will tell us about some of your characters that you had in there. It's called you'll know the name, you old school gamers, Blackmore. That's the setting, the original sort of full D&D setting.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I have characters in both Thad and Martin's campaign. So in the Shudder Mountains Chained Coffin campaign, I play Solomon Milliken III. Big, lucky, but uncoordinated. Think possibly Jethro from Beverly Hillbillies, maybe. And Solomon Milliken is actually a really old ancestor of mine. My family does come from Appalachia. And
you're talking about in real life.
In real life, yeah. And when I was young, they took me out to Solomon Milliken's grave. It's a single grave from the 1800s that is under the only huge bur oak tree in a huge river bottom field. And the reason that the tree was allowed to remain there when they got rid of everything else and plowed it was because the grave was there. So I took Solomon Milliken for that campaign. And then in Thad's campaign, which is the Blackmore campaign, I have a really challenging character who was a Peshwa boy, a young Peshwa boy who was run out of his tribe because he had sorceress capabilities. And he turned out, unbeknownst to me, to be sort of the fulcrum for the entire life or death of the world in Thad's Blackmore campaign. And I have went from like 15 years old to 37 to 28 to 14. There's been a lot of time bouncing around. And poor Vraga, even though he's an 8th level sorcerer now, really doesn't know any more than when he started, I don't think.
And that's a lot trickier to handle because most of us, we just really kind of stalled out at 17.
Indeed.
But but to have to age and get younger, that's really tricky. So yeah, I am running the Chained Coffin, the sort of complete edition that Goodman put out, and it's been a ball. So it's really ended up, we started with the funnel that was written there, and I'm sorry, I just forgot the name. I think it might have been, I think that might have been Mike wrote that. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Someone in the chat can look that up for me. Anyway, and it's really become a kind of, oh brother, where art thou campaign. Like you are all sort of working your way home. And so that's been a real blast. And every time the players show up, we listen to bluegrass music, and it's been really fun. It's a great setting. And then in Thad's campaign, I am playing a bard, Haragrin the Amazing. And I've had a lot of fun with Haragrin because one of the things in Thad's setting is, at least for quite a while, magic was outlawed. And so I built Haragrin as kind of a street magician. So you never know whether he's doing sleight of hand or actually casting a spell. So that was really fun. And then honestly, there's something wickedly delightful about coming up with every 80s tune I can come up with for spells. Yeah, you can see that Lance and Thad particularly love that. You never realize how much Journey and Duran Duran brought to gaming.
And that is why you are the second greatest bard in all the world.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. That is a good Thad. I'm gonna grab that as the perfect segue to one of our ongoing features, as you will see if you tune in next time. And this is So Then What Happened. And I'll just grab on to what you said there, Thad. So then what happened? A story from our game. We had the chance in Thad's campaign to talk to a really powerful seer. This woman only appears, very sporadically in the high mountains, and you have the chance to ask her one question in your lifetime if you find her. One question. And at this point, Hargren was about 8th level. He was feeling pretty arrogant, but he also knew he had more to learn. So he asked the seer who was the world's greatest bard. So if it wasn't him, he could go and find this bard and learn from them. And it turns out it was Hargren's ex-girlfriend, who had actually stolen his loot, broken his heart. So thanks for that, Thad. That was the shocking irony of that.
But it's not over. It's not over.
No, it's not over. You can see I'm still processing. So yes, that is a story that's been sticking with me from our games.
And due to Hargren's songsmithing, Thad has had to come up with a way of running most of the second half of this campaign without calling for a reflex save. Because every time he calls for a reflex save, we have to hear Hargren saying reflex by Duran Duran.
Although I just peeked into the chat and squinted and I saw someone referenced Wild Boys by Duran Duran, which is really, they had like a post-apocalyptic music video. I'm going to be YouTubing that up.
Yeah. Please don't get any ideas, Martin. Stop reading the chat.
I'm this close into breaking out in song right now, but I'll stop myself. So Lance, so then what happened, Lance?
Oh,
tell us.
I'm going to go way, way back to one of my childhood memories that has never left, and everybody that played in this particular game remembers it. So I developed a sort of funhouse dungeon like we all did. And I had one particular player from the neighborhood that I knew, basically whatever you put in front of this person, they would smash it. So I put them all in a hall of mirrors. And it was a mirror maze. And of course, as predicted, this person, Chris, said I sort of baited him a little bit. And then he's like, well, what if I just smash a mirror? So he smashed a mirror. And behind it was just a stone wall. So then it wasn't mirror upon mirror upon mirror. Things started to get a little clearer for him. And I said, yeah, but you're feeling a little weaker. So every time that he smashed a mirror, I was rolling 1d4. And I let him smash his way out and telling him, that he was making progress and could start to see the way out, but was feeling weaker and weaker. And he just smashed all the way until he dropped. And I killed him.
That's actually a pretty cool setup.
It was very fun, actually. He was quite irritated, but the rest of us thought it was hilarious because I told everyone beforehand, watch what happens. Chris is going to smash himself to death.
Yeah, I particularly like the way you encourage him. Oh, I think you're making progress.
Yes, indeed.
You're really getting somewhere there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, so that's one of my old favorites.
So I'll go way back as well. Mine is very unflattering toward myself. So I'm really putting myself out there on this one because it's pretty embarrassing. But let's see if anybody can relate out there.
And you're among friends.
Yeah, it's just a few of us, right?
Yeah.
So, so when I was first introduced to D&D, played with a friend down the road, and we were playing in the setting of the Judges Guild, City State of the Invincible Overlord, which we've actually revisited in our
Love it.
adulthood. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, we had been playing for a few months, and our characters have been building up, and you start getting really attached to these characters. And you don't want them to go away. And the judge made some really awful constables, the most hateful constables. Oh my God, they just get under your skin. And we decided, you know what, we're not going to put up with this anymore. So we're going to take down these constables. And of course, we promptly got annihilated. Those constables really handed it to us. And my guy died. And I was maybe 10 years old. I lost it. I mean, absolutely lost it. Running around the room. No. It was to the point where the rest of the players had to subdue me and hold me down until I came to my senses. You know what?
Wow.
To this day, I'm still like that, as you guys know.
Yeah, it's really hard to play funnels with you, Thad, because we have to subdue you every time a peasant drops, and that's fairly often.
Yeah, it gets a little old, but
There are like 9 phases of PC death grief. I think there's a book somewhere you can read to help you deal with that. I think
phase 1, run around the room screaming, no.
I have to say that when we first started playing DCC and running the funnels and just watching the body count rise, and even playing higher level adventures, I mean, you do sort of have a different view of mortality in that game in Dungeon Crawl Classics. It can be a grind.
It's sort of a throwback back, in the old days, though. In the basic set, 0 hit points meant 0 hit points. There was no, it was quite unforgiving back then.
Yeah, and of course, and watch those of you watching at home, you're going to marvel at this segue. One of the things that's remarkable about DCC is all the different things that can happen sort of randomly that can hurt you, like corruption. So one of the things that it's been really fun for us playing Dungeon Crawl Classics is the way that magic works, and the way that when you are a wizard, you can have magic go wildly wrong. And I can't see the screen, but Elena, I hope you're bringing up the drawing. I think it's a Doug Kovacs drawing from the core rulebook. And if you see it, it shows the wizard sort of. And it's amazing to me that Doug actually managed to do a time-lapse drawing of me in my 40s for that page, because that's what it reminds me of. And what I found, and what we were talking about for this next segment was, corruption happens, but we also, especially at our table, right? People are burning luck. We do lots of things to try and mitigate corruption. So we've never actually seen how far corruption can go. Aren't I right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I played an elf that ended up like with some kind of weird tattoo on his face that came from a corruption thing, and maybe somebody with an extra finger, but I don't remember anyone taking it to the point where they were really getting twisted. Do you, Thad? I don't remember anything like that.
I don't, but it's one of those really fun parts of DCC that we all love. This kind of crazy random stuff that can happen. And it's one of the reasons that really drew me into DCC. So, let's take it all the way.
That's right. And I think the way that, we were talking about how we can do this, and the way to do it, of course, is to find the world's worst wizard. And so we're really delighted and excited to invite onto the show tonight, Randy. So we're going to check in with Randy, the world's worst wizard. And we'll use the magic of the phlogiston. We're going to fly through the phlogiston and see if Randy appears.
It appears that Randy cast silence on himself by mistake before coming on. I don't know if he's lifted that spell yet.
I would never. I don't know how you insinuate that the great Randy would make such a mistake.
Oh, it's the great Randy now.
Oh,
yeah. Well, So I find it cute that you are, bustling up your great audience tonight with all of these horrible images of poor wizards from the past who don't know how to properly manage their magic, because you all know that you hired me not just because I'm affordable, but because I'm reliable. And that would never happen to me. And just to prove that to your wonderful audience you have tonight, I figured that I would make sure that they are maximizing their enjoyment of spending their evening with these honorable thieves and show them a little bedazzling charm person. What say we get into it and I show all of you what the great wizard Randy can do?
All right, just give me a second. I got to get ready for this.
You better.
I would love it. Let's see.
Pick a random. Are you going to pick a random viewer and charm them? Who are we charming?
He's going to get such a mass effect. He's going to charm all of us.
Oh,
exactly. True. I can. This will cover everyone. Prepare to be amazed.
How's it looking, Randy?
Well, like I said, I'm normally reliable, but it seems on this one rare occasion, I have rolled a 1.
Oh,
that's reliable.
And you know what?
Reliably rotten Randy and his rolls.
I'm thinking about the luck burns, and I didn't even think of spell burning, because normally I'm Randy. I don't need to do any of those silly things. Those are a crutch. I don't need crutches, but just for tonight, I think I'm going to have to eat whatever the fates have to twist for me, but I will come back next time prepared for something much more effective. So,
you should really think about spell burn next time, though, because you have 3 points in strength, agility, and stamina that you could use.
I know so much to tap into, but
exactly.
For now, I suppose that there's no sense in putting off the corruption that's coming to me, is there?
No, let's see how that goes.
Oh no. And it seems I have to roll on the greater corruption table.
Oh, well, nice start. So if you're reading along at home, that's on page 119 in your core rule book.
Indeed. I'm sure it will be fine. I mean, I'll come back bigger and better than ever from this. Oh no. Well, it seems that I'm suffering from some twisted bodily transformation. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to need to start going for daily swims at the local community village pool, because I think I'm growing gills. I can feel them popping out along the sides of my neck.
Oh,
that could be handy if you are playtesting Chaos against the Mass. You should keep that.
This was all intentional, Thieves. I'm going to bring more utility than ever, even if the signs of these openings on my throat may intimidate the occasional civilian.
I'm not sure that we can trust that you actually rolled that. There's something fishy about this.
Oh.
Hey, all right, it's going to be like that, huh?
I didn't get hired to listen to these kinds of jokes. I got hired to do magic, dang it.
All right, pay him his copper.
All right, Randy, thanks so much for joining us. We know that when we see you 2 weeks from now, I'm sure the spell's going to go much better. You've got gills now, and I will say, Lance has promised. So Lance is, as we mentioned, does a lot of art for us, and Lance also does great miniatures. We're gonna just keep checking in with you, Randy, and as you grow in stature as a wizard, however you kind of come out of your studies, Lance is going to render that either in a miniature or a drawing. And it sounds like right now it'll be Randy with some gills.
Thieves, thank you for giving me an opportunity to show off my magical prowess. I wish you and your audience a good night.
Thank you very much, Randy.
See you next time, Randy.
Your services are valued.
Yeah, so that is, I'm thinking that's really the best way to try out the corruption table, not on us.
I agree.
The great
I'm gonna get into my old comic books and look for one of the old Sea Monkey ads and see if those places are still in business.
Oh,
maybe
right.
maybe a little Sea Monkey Randy.
They never act. I remember the shock when my parents got an aquarium and I found out that the sea monkeys were the brine shrimp my dad fed the tropical fish.
Yeah.
It's really pretty grim if you imagine those happy sea monkeys in the comic books getting fed to the fish.
You think that was a letdown? Talk about the x-ray glasses I spent a bunch of pop tops for. Those things didn't work at all.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, as we are looking back, going back through the mists of time to sea monkeys and x-ray glasses, we are all here again. We're gamers going back quite a ways, and there's something that all gamers have. Well, I shouldn't say this. Many gamers have had various experiences of this. Thad, I just saw you warming up. Why don't you sort of introduce this next topic, Thad?
Guys, the Great Purge takes many forms. For some, the purge came when they left for college and their parents cleaned their rooms. For others, the purge came later when they downsized. Join us now as we celebrate and grieve the treasures of the Great Purge.
Whoa.
Indeed.
If you all can imagine sort of big dramatic sound effects like when the aliens appear over the White House on Independence Day, that's what we're talking about, because the Great Purge is a horrible thing that many of us have experienced, some worse than others. And so tonight, you're welcome to share your stories with us in the chat. Something that you lost through marriage, divorce, downsize, moving, college. We're here for you. We're here for one another. Thad, you maybe have the most tragic story that I know of.
Sad tale.
Why don't you, I know there's a lot to talk about, but why don't you choose something that you want to share?
Sure. So yeah, just thinking about it, I'm gonna have to move my hero pin to yellow as I start getting a little more melancholy about this. By the way, hero pins available at gaminghonors.com. And so anyway, back in the day, playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, as many of us did, this ought to send a reminder through some of the older players' brain cells there. As a very young adult, struggling to try to find a really good job, it got to the point where I needed to sell off some stuff, some books to pay rent. I'm dead serious. I'm selling off gaming stuff to pay rent. And I had a really good friend. We all know this guy. I'll leave his name out for now, but he's a lifetime gamer, lives and dies to game. And he was willing to pay me $100 for a few Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books and a bunch of my miniatures. I needed the $100. I sold them off. And, didn't regret it immediately. But a few weeks go by, a few months go by, and certainly a couple of years go by. I'm like, oh my God, I would do anything to get those back, especially the miniatures, because Lance, better than any of us, put a lot of time into those things, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in those the figures, all polished. And make a long story short, a few years later, James told me that he still had my books. Are you kidding me? You still have those things? And I can't remember if he gave them back to me. He probably did, knowing James.
No, he charged you $200. It was just a simple transaction, double the money.
He should have. I paid it. He should have. So I'm happy to say that
storage fees.
I do have my deities and demigods.
Oh,
my fiend folio, my monster manual. Check this out. This 100% confirms it was me. I tabbed so like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so you could pop right to the section.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what you do as a 13-year-old.
All right.
So it had a decent story. The figures were a casualty, but I made out okay. Go, Lance.
I think people in the chat room are going to want to know. Everyone wants to know what version and printing of Deities and Demigods is that?
Oh.
Does that have the Fritz Lieber stuff in it and the stuff that got left out the second time? That thing could be worth a lot of money.
You know, yeah, you know all the artists. I don't. So let's see what the book says.
So that, yeah, they had to leave out Fritz Leiber's stuff when they reprinted it. They had a dispute with Chaosium, so I'm just curious what's in there. The original version has 2 extra chapters. Do you have Fofford and the Gray Mouser in there?
I don't know. I don't see Fritz in the front for the illustrations.
Well, maybe for next session you should check what
Okay.
what edition and what printing, and you could tell the people in the chat room, because everybody's always looking for those hidden gems. That first edition Deities and Demigods, it was a very short run.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
to know. I'll check in on that.
And so actually your story of loss came out. You have the treasures back too, though.
Yeah, a lot of it.
That's
So
pretty good.
Happy ending.
Yeah. Lance, what's something that you've got holding on that either you've lost or that you've held on to?
Well, tons and tons, lost tons and tons, held on to and regained. But the biggest purge I had was, so you guys, I was a crazy figure painter, like starting when I was 9 years old. Even before the little lead figures came out, I was building the World War II Tamiya models. So loved building models. And then when I found lead figures, I was just amazed. So I don't know, when I was about maybe 13, I had a couple of California job case drawers that my mom had bought at an antique shop. Do you know what those are? That used to hold all the typesets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then
Yep.
and they're almost like a little shadow box, but for 25 millimeter miniatures, the original Grenadiers and all the Ralparthas and the Asgard and the Heritage and the Broadsword, all those original miniatures fit perfectly in those cases. And I had the run of an unfinished basement in a bi-level house. So my parents never finished the basement when I was young, which means that there were cinder block walls about up to your belly button or maybe your chest. And then there was an indentation where the 2x4s and all the insulation and stuff was, but you had like a 6-inch ledge right there of open space all the way around, right at this level. So I used to set these California job case drawers up and stack them with figures that I would paint. And I had 2 drawers almost completely full by the time I was 13. And there was a pool table down there too, and a bunch, and I think I remember the combatants, but I don't want to name names because in case my memory isn't right, I don't want to cast this shame on anyone. But 2 of my friends got into a wrestling match tussle and they slammed into my figure cases. All the figures came out and, just went raining down on the concrete floor. And I had been so fastidious and careful about picking all the colors and painting and taking all that time. So I went crazy basically and just gave everything away. Every figure I had, sold it for 50 cents, gave it away. I was so disgusted. Like I purged everything. And over the years, I don't know what I lost, but people have come around, called me up, found stuff from their parents. I've had people's parents call me up. So I got a few things back. And these ones, I got these back a few years ago and I was blown away. So I brought them right here. These 3. So there's one missing because there was 3 of these. And I don't know, I can look maybe next week or in the coming weeks, I'll look up in some of my old tomes what these are. But these are made of solid lead.
Oh, yeah.
They're total lead. And when I ordered them, so these are supposedly orc war riders, right? When I ordered them, they didn't even have drawings. It was just a sheet of paper, mail order, and it said orc on wolf with spear, orc on wolf with bow. And I ordered 3 of those. I don't even know, it might have been from England back in the day. Who knows? But they're all made out of lead. And then I got this, and then it was the dragon. and the dragon wasn't very much money. It was like $2. I'm like, oh man, a dragon for $2? That's fantastic. And this guy came in the mail. So this guy here now, he's about as, I mean, he looks like a 28 millimeter figures dog. But at the time, I thought I had one heck of a dragon.
All right.
So I got to look up and see if I can dig up what company this was. But so yeah, these came back to me after 25 years in limbo.
That's awesome.
And somebody's mom found him in a box and sent some pictures to that person who I won't name, who doesn't play anymore. And they said, oh, I think those belong to Lance. And I was thrilled to get these back.
That is amazing.
Yep.
All hail someone's mom, right?
Yep.
That'll definitely help out. So I just to wrap this section up, I have a treasure that actually survived the Great Purge, and I'm glad to share it because I see that my older sister is here in the chat, and you'll see why this managed to survive in a moment. I'll explain, because when I opened it, you know, looking back at how I got it, written in sort of fancy sparkling marker is Meredith Bunicki, Merry Christmas to Martin. Please return if found. So she was really counting on me, I guess, possibly losing it, but also really, you know, making sure it got back to me. And so thank you, Meredith. Yes. And then the other thing that's nice, and that actually shows you how amazing it is this thing survived. You can't see it because the glare is too bad. But I wrote in my own sort of sparkly new marker, cool, totally awesome, totally spelled TOTTALLY. And then I went on to become an English professor. So kids, stay in school. So
yeah, totally.
Totally awesome. So that is my treasure from the Great Purge.
Did it get purged at one point? Did it get?
No, it survived the whole way.
Okay,
it is stuck with us the whole way.
Awesome.
So I will tell you, somewhere out there, since I know that there's millions of people watching us, this is probably the best venue to put this out there. My mom had a stamp made for her that had some kind of a mermaid in the middle. It was a circular stamp. It was a book stamp, and it said property of Vicky Hodge. So my original first edition D&D Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books, the hardcovers, they're all gone. I don't know where they went. I have other versions I've got over the years, but someone out there has a player's handbook, a dungeon master's guide, and a monster manual that has stamped into the front page, property of Vicky Hodge. And I would pay handsomely to have them back.
All right. So we are going. Okay. Dad's got it. He's had it the whole time. All right. So we, you know, we're here tonight, and we're really, we should have said this right off the bat. We're so grateful to Joseph Goodman and Goodman Games for asking us and inviting us to have a show on Twitch on the channel. We're really delighted to be here. We wouldn't be here, of course, if we hadn't actually started playing Dungeon Crawl Classics and actually starting to write material for it. So we thought one of the things we would do on the show is talk a little bit about some of our products, some of the games and adventures we've written. And we're going to start with actually the one that started it all for us, right? Which was the Peasant's Fell Bargain. And if anyone in the chat, you know, if you're watching and you've played this and you want to sort of let us know, that would be awesome. And I know, Elena, you were going to pull up the cover, and maybe you have. I thought we could talk a little bit about just how this came together. What do you guys remember about the Peasant's Fell Bargain coming together?
Well, I mean, this is something that you wrote, and you were very passionate about it. And this was as our company was just kind of gelling, and we're, you know, strategizing about, okay, what do we do first, right? We had many options on the table, but we needed something that we could accomplish, something that was achievable, and a funnel is a great, perfect opportunity for that. And you know, you're a great writer, with your background with having written books and such. And I just remember thinking, okay, this is really cool. The writing is excellent. I'll let you kind of describe more about what it's about and the details there, but it was a great first thing to kickstart with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved I would agree with everything that Thad said. Your writing's great, great storytelling. Um, and I was really excited because of some of the innovative ideas that you had to add into the gameplay, which DCC really allows for. It's like a wide open slate. So like your the boon table and the monkey paw table, and then the idea of whoever came up with the idea for the encounter cards that could be printed off and just, you could fly through them. I thought it was really a lot of really great innovative ideas and a great story. And I've run that module 25 times and always have great success with it, no matter
Yeah,
which
so
way it goes.
anybody that goes to Gen Con next year, I'm sure, Lance, you're going to run it
Yep.
again.
I'll be running it again.
It's a blast.
So thank you for that. And that I actually wasn't fishing for compliments, but I will take them. So thank you. Yeah, I mean, when I think back to that, what I remember is, of course, first of all, going to Gen Con and seeing the Goodman booth. And we'd never played Dungeon Crawl Classics. And I just went and started to ask someone about it. And I understand better now how the booth is often manned by, run by volunteers, or people are there volunteering. Everyone loves the game. I talked to someone who had such a passion for the game. I left with all, a set of adventures, the core rule book, the dice, everything. We came back. You were all really good sports. I mean, it's not easy to switch to a new system, and we all sort of got on board with Dungeon Crawl Classics and realized how versatile the funnel was and how you could tell really great stories. And so for me, I guess the Peasants Fell Bargain, there were a couple of things I really wanted to try and do with that module. I wanted to have that kind of deal with the devil idea, where
Faustian bargain. Yeah,
exactly. You sort of, you think you're gonna get something really great out of it, but there's a cost involved. And then I'm a big one for moral dilemmas. I love modules that pose some kind of moral dilemma and that lead characters to have to and lead players to really have to talk to one another. And boy, at the end, we have seen so many different outcomes in that module of betrayal, of leaving others behind, of banding together. I mean, they certainly don't all have to end in sort of PvP stuff, but yeah, that was really what I was looking to do. And then Lance, you having, studied art in college and kind of moved away from it for a while, it became a great way for you to get back into art, right?
Oh yeah, it was such a fun time. It was sort of a slow, I had to knock a lot of rust off to get the creative juices flowing again. But I had a really great time, and Thad helped a lot too with his. I was of a vintage when making a mistake on a piece of parchment paper or canvas could be very, very problematic. So it took me a long time to get to the point where I realized now with digital editing and all the things you can do, you can kind of freewheel it a little bit more. But Thad was a big help in helping me get through that first thing. But
Well,
I was really happy. The map, I thought that the battle map turned out stellar. I'm so happy with that.
Well, and I see in the chat, and I'm going to use this as a segue, but I see in the chat someone mentioned how they loved the tapestry. So thank you for noticing that. One of the things we really worked hard on in that adventure is to have a kind of mystery element, right? That as you sort of, the characters think they're in one kind of adventure, and as they're exploring the house, they find out they're in a very different kind of adventure. And I had this sort of family lineage tapestry that you drew, Lance, which is awesome. And it becomes a major clue. And we're really fortunate. We have a really great gaming group. And so whenever I come to the table with a new adventure, a new idea, it's true for all of us. We know people are going to really work it, like really try and figure it out, ask really smart questions. And we have such a great gaming group that we're delighted to actually have one of our fellow gamers joining us tonight. He is a really great sport, a really great person, and he is willing to find out if he is in fact a peasant. So I think if you're ready, it's time, everyone, to play So You Think You're a Peasant.
I think I am. We'll see.
Hey guys.
Hey, Adam, how are you?
Adam, hello.
It's Adam. Excellent. Welcome.
Great stories. I haven't
were
heard
your,
most of those.
were your ears burning?
That's right.
Good. And I just want to say that we would love to have people play along at home. You can play So You Think You're a Peasant right along with us. This is how it's going to work. If you've played Dungeon Crawl Classics, you know that you have an occupation table and you roll to find out what your occupation is as a peasant. And depending on what your occupation is, you have certain trade goods.
What page
You
is that
have
on,
a
Martin?
you have a weapon and you have a trade good. I am going to roll on the occupation table. And I will announce what the occupation is and what the item is.
And what page is that on? So players.
Oh
at
yeah,
home
and if you're
can
this
join
is on
with us.
page
22.
22 and 23.
Okay.
And you're gonna
Here we
roll
go.
once for everybody. We all go
Yes.
together.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
you all have to. We're gonna see who can fulfill this the best, and yeah, who can do the best job fulfilling this. This is going to be also on our Facebook page. So as soon as I make this roll and announce it, we're going to put it on Facebook. And so if you're at home and you want to play, you can post a picture of your item on Facebook, and we'll see how if you are a peasant, you will have 1 minute to find this item, which
Okay.
in my head, this all makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to roll the dice. You're going to go run through your house. You have a minute to get back. Elena's going to put a clock on the screen. I'll try and keep an eye on. I'm going to set a timer here. Oh my goodness.
Pressure's
All right.
on.
Here we go. Are you feeling the tension? I'm feeling the tension. Okay, I'm going to roll the dice. Okay, everyone. You think you're a peasant? Well, that you are if you are a cooper and can find me a barrel. 1 minute. Barrel, go. I just realized that I forgot to mention that one of the things you can do is come up with a reasonable facsimile of a barrel. So, you know, there can be some creative solutions. But, you know, if they just go and find a barrel, I'll be happy with that too.
I got it.
We're 30 seconds.
I'm first. I got it.
Oh, you are the world's smallest cooper, though.
That's a
I
well.
don't-
You said that's a 55-gallon drum in 32mm scale. It's a
Well,
pickle barrel. I'm counting it.
All right. Well, we're gonna let the watchers decide too. If I can get some votes, that would be great. Otherwise, you know, I've got the responsibility as the judge to make a decision. And right now, according to my clock, Adam and Thad are over time, which I don't know if they are immediately disqualified. Certainly, they will be ridiculed. Oh,
It's like shooting a fish guild wizard in a barrel.
I'm afraid that Adam might have just left. We may never see him again. We don't have actually a protocol for that.
What's his contracts? Don't we have him for at least 3 episodes?
So Thad, Lance came back in 30 seconds with a
Well-
barrel. I'll have him show you in a moment. You can hold on. We'll wait. We'll give Adam.
I'm actually winded.
You were a few, and I'm sorry to break it to you. You were a few seconds late. Oh no! Somebody subdue him.
And
Oh,
then there
all
were
right.
2.
All right, here we go. So, Adam, that took you almost 2 minutes. That's okay. That's all right.
had no
All right, so
barrel.
here we go. Oh, and some Mare for herself is telling us that time is meaningless, and let's just all ponder that forever. Okay, let's see. Lance, you finished first. Let's go ahead and see if you're a peasant. Look at that. Very much a barrel, but very small. We're gonna see what people think of that. Thad, do you think you're a peasant?
So the figures you see behind Lance don't even begin to describe his assets as far as miniatures. However, I have a decent collection myself, and mine
yours is bigger than mine.
Mine is considerably bigger than yours.
Size doesn't matter, Thad.
Wow.
It's what's in the barrel.
Okay, so we have two very barrel-looking barrels of various sizes. Adam, what do you have for us?
Well, you guys remember I took up 3D printing and I couldn't find it until just now. But I also have a barrel, a 3D printed prop barrel.
I am impressed. I'm impressed with all of us.
Yeah.
Well, it's
took
very
me
impressive
forever to
that
find
Adam actually made his own barrel like a Cooper would. So
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
painted
nice.
mine, but he actually made his.
Yeah, you're the Cooper of the week. That's for sure.
Yeah, just the way Coopers did, right? They just got out
That's
the
right.
3D printers and printed out those barrels. All right, I'm looking at what do we all think? Do people feel like there's a clear winner here?
I gotta go with Adam. I agree with Lance's position. He made
Yeah.
that.
I think I'll give it to Adam. He made that from scratch. I mean, he imported that file and put that file into that printer. And
But if anybody's watching, chat in there. Let us know.
Well,
what you
someone
think.
did say they raised a good point that if everyone has a token, no one does. You all get the luck. I mean, that is a good point.
Okay.
So I have to ask you, Chillin' Bun, whose do you like?
Cookie Baker says bigger is better. That's
Yeah,
got
all
us
of you.
into size.
It is true. If little sister is my little sister, then yeah, I think that it is true that they all did really well at being peasants.
I mean, time must matters. I mean, I know supposedly it doesn't, but 2 minutes is too long for this, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. This is about the rules. The rules
That's right.
matter. And so that would mean that really Lance is the winner because Lance caught in the 30 seconds, under a minute. And I'm sorry, Thad and Adam, next time, well, actually next time it might be me running. So I will give Lance, you get a luck token.
Sweet.
That you can use we're playing Chained Coffin next week.
Sweet. I got my luck token. I'm going to have, let's see, what should I use? I will use, what is at hand? So somebody's going to get some free advertising. I just pulled this out of the box. I don't know, Zombie Press Games.
All right.
Luck token I picked up at Gen Con in 2019. That's my luck.
Very nice. Adam, thanks so much for playing and being a great sport. Do you have, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I'm wondering, do you have a memory of a peasant that you ran that sticks in your head?
Well, Jingles McGee was a special guy for me with his spider monkey familiar. He had a blast effect that happened every time he had Featherfall. So he would throw himself off of things so that he could cast Featherfall and had the blast effect go. Just a fantastic zany wizard. Died horribly, of course, as all wizards do.
Yes,
After
but you have to
betraying
love
the
a wizard
party, I
who
think.
throws himself off of things for an effect. All right, thanks, Adam.
We'll see you next
seeing
week.
you, Adam.
See you guys.
All right, I am looking at my, Elena, I promise I am watching the clock. I'm looking at the clock and I'm looking at my schedule, and we're going to move right along to I Scry with My Little Eye. I hope that, Elena, you can keep up with us. This is a wacky, fun stuff. But this is where we're going to talk about things that are in the pipeline, things that are coming up next. And if Elena can keep up with my devil may care spirit of skipping along in the program, hopefully you'll see the sketch of a cover for our next module, which we're going to be kickstarting really soon, called Chaos Before the Mast. And Thad, you and Lance have both been through a play test of this module. And Lance, you're running one. And I'll just say that this was inspired in part by a backer who, after one of our projects, said, have you guys ever thought about doing a sea campaign? And he was really, each Kickstarter we would do, he would sort of message and say, hey, how's that sea campaign coming along? And that's actually very helpful motivation. And so I finally did sort of decide to sit down and write a sea adventure.
So this,
I love it. Yep. It's a lot of fun.
So this, Martin, I feel like you're in your wheelhouse in this one, right? Because there's a lot of great, verbose, clever fun. You've got sea shanties being sung. You've got stories being told. You've got descriptions of the great Grampus terrifying the oceans, and your wordsmithing really shines in this. It's been a lot of fun to see it come together. I can't wait for us to kickstart it.
Yeah, me too. I really had a great time with the group that was playing on Zoom last night. I've got a whole nother crew lined up. I'm really excited. Plus, I have a lot of old pirate drawings. It was one of my favorite things to draw. So I'm working on the collage montage of all of the different things that take place at the tavern the first evening.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm really excited about that. And the cover looks great that Matt's working on. I think it's going to be a fun adventure for people.
And let's tell people what it is. What's the setting? What's the level, the experience?
So this is a second level DCC compatible adventure. We're also going to kickstart it so that, for DCC, and if someone wants to, if you want it for 5e, we'll sort of have different versions with different rules so you can play either way. And like other adventures, you were talking about Peasant's Fell Bargain too, right? You think you're on one kind of adventure and maybe you're on another. So it's a treasure hunt. So the party's been hired to retrieve an artifact that is very important to a wizard. They're not given a lot of information about what the artifact is, but they're given plenty of magical resources to successfully find it. And of course, when they find it, and I don't want to say much more because we're halfway through a playtest and maybe some of the players are watching, the artifact is not what you expect. And what it's been fun to watch already in the playtest is how people respond to what the artifact actually is. One of the things that's been a lot of fun, you mentioned the bar scene, Lance. I've been through really great sea campaigns. Thad, you ran a great portion of a sea campaign. One of our buddies also did, and I was really inspired by those. It's fun to be part of the crew. So we have a mechanic in the adventure. Players are not necessarily aware of it, but for each successful action that you do, you can earn a crew point. And towards the end of the adventure, if you've earned enough crew points, you're going to get a tattoo. And that tattoo has some benefits. And so that's been really fun. And then speaking as a literary nerd, I'm just pulling out all the stops. I've got the Rime of the Ancient Mariner in there. I've got Moby Dick. I've got Billy Budd. I've got 2 Years Before the Mast. It's been really fun.
The scene that you wrote where Captain Stubing is telling Julie that it's not a good idea to date Gopher. I mean, I was tearing up when I read that part.
That's great.
I would take away. Wait, you did win. I'm taking the luck point back. I can't believe you dropped a Love Boat reference and that you were naming the characters. You know way too much about Love Boat right off the top of your head. That's stunning. So yeah,
and that's funny because I wasn't even, I shouldn't even have been watching TV back then. I was probably too young. What was I, 3, 2? I don't even remember.
You probably saw it on Nick at Night or something.
Yeah, reruns, of course.
YouTube.
Syndication.
So yeah, we are just actually, so Matt Morrow did a really great job on that cover. We are very close to launching this Kickstarter. So please follow us, follow us on social media. We'll definitely be announcing it. That's going to come along really quickly. Fellas, we're just about out of time, actually. So there's one thing we have to do, which you always have to do in a DCC adventure, and that is roll the body. We have to see if we actually, and so go ahead and put yourself in the red because you're obviously down to almost nothing.
Using my
oh no, actually, wouldn't it be complete? It would be like, I think it's Grim Reaper. If
right, we've fallen. Now we have to see if we come back up. All right, so here's the thing. We have been in business now for 4 years. So to successfully roll the body, you need to roll under a 4.
And we're all rolling, right?
We are all rolling.
For ourselves. Okay.
I'm toast.
I'm toast.
Yeah, it's over. I'm done.
It is over. The show is over, but it's not over. We will be back in 2 weeks, and there are other ways to get more of this sort of gaming honors hijinks. What are those ways, fellas?
You could sign up for our email distribution list at gaminghonors.com if you'd like.
Facebook, of course, at Honor Your Game.
And we are also on Instagram and Twitter, in large part thanks to Meredith, who helped me keep track of my book for many decades.
Thanks, Meredith.
Yeah. So Elena, thank you so much for helping out. Thank you to Goodman Games for making this possible. Thank you to Randy, the world's worst wizard, also known as Hayden Hodge, a relation, and to Adam for coming in and showing he's a peasant. We hope you'll all join us in 2 weeks for Honor Among Thieves.
Good night.
Great session, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.